Alright YouTube, so here's kind of an update slash tutorial. It's been about 3 months since I had my Bugera, and the tube burned out just yesterday. So a couple of things. When the tube burned out, I noticed there was crackling in my amp. It was on a clean setting, but there was it sounded like it was distorted. And I was playing with it a little bit, and then after a while I noticed the standby switch light was blinking really fast. And then I came over to the back of the tube and I saw number 3. The light was lit up, and I looked at the tube and it looked like it was it kind of had like a blue, it looked like a blue flame was in it, and it was sure enough burning out. So that tube's done. So just got back from Sam Ash and picked up some JJ E34L tubes, which apparently these are the same thing. They're still an EL34, but being slightly different. It's apparently like a newer version or something, but it's like the same thing really. E34L. So yeah, and they only had a pair at the store, so I went ahead and bought it anyways, just because there's an extra tube, but I only plan on replacing the one. The whole point of matched pairs is that they factory settings are made them so they can run at the optimal same power level. But what's nice about the Bugera with the Infinium technology is that it doesn't matter, because you can mix match tubes, because the Infinium technology automatically biases each tube individually, so they all run optimal levels all the time. So you can mix and match different types of, well, not types, different brands of tubes, and they don't have to be matched or anything. So what we're going to need is screwdriver and microfiber cloth. And yeah, so let's get to it. Alright, so first thing we're going to want to do is make sure we've got it completely disconnected. We're going to want the power for sure disconnected, because once we get our hands back there, it's going to be really dangerous. Even if you unplug the power cable, there's still electricity stored in there, in the capacitors. So you still got to be careful. Make sure you don't touch anything you're not supposed to. So yeah, so now we're just going to take off this back plate. It's got 4 screws right here. So here we go. Alright, so now that we've got the back plate off, we can see the tubes. This one right here, number 3, is the one that's burned out. And the other one should be fine. But, so we'll see. So now I'm going to get, well, first actually, so now we're going to get our microfiber cloth. And we're going to use this to help take the tube off. Now, you could use your bare hands, especially for the burned out ones, but I think it's a good habit just to get into using the cloth, because when you put on the new tube, you're going to want to, you don't want the oils from your skin getting into the glass of the tube, because it can degrade it and make it die faster, shorten its life. So also do this so I don't touch the other tubes with my oily hands. They're not even that oily, but yeah, anything to make these tubes last longer, because they are expensive. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to number 3 right there, and we're going to pop it off. So we kind of press down. I press down with my 2 fingers on these little clamps, and with the cloth go over to the top, and I just kind of rock it out gently, not holding on super hard. Just kind of rock it until it gives. Almost out, and there we go. The top definitely looks a little burned. This is what a burnt out tube looks like. So yeah, and when we put the new one in, there's this little let's see if I can get this to focus. There's this little dimple right here that must be lined up for the hole, so it's gonna go in like that. And yeah, so let's get our new JJ. So a little unboxing, comes all wrapped up, very nice. Since this is the new tube, I definitely don't want to touch it with my hands. Make sure that it's all good, not oily. And yeah, there we go. That's a JJ E34L. So I see the dimples right here. So we're gonna have to make sure that goes in to match over here. So same thing, pretty much. Just line up the dimple. See if you can see the dimple's in the back right there. So I have to make sure this goes in the right way. So we just line up that dimple and just same thing, kind of push down on these while we just pop that in there. So it only goes in one way. Push down and just gently rock it in until it goes all the way down. Nice and snug like. You can see the size difference. The Bugera 6L6 tubes are definitely a little thicker, a little shorter. But this cabinet can do 6L6 or EL34, so this will work just the same. And they say the EL34 has a darker sound, where 6L6s can be like cleaner, but the EL34 will give you more grit, more distortion. So it does give a little difference to your tone. So that's pretty much it. That tube's in, it's installed, and now it's time to close it up and turn the amp on, see if it works. One thing that I see a lot of people doing that is a good idea, but probably not applicable since this tube is burned out, is that they people mark these with a Sharpie so they know what hole they came out of. I guess it makes more sense if you're going to put the tube back in there, but otherwise you can mark it anyways. This way I just know which socket it came out of when the rest of them get replaced, and I don't know, maybe I could see compare it to the other ones that burn out next. But yeah, just a kind of an idea. So now I'm just gonna wrap this up and put it in my the JJ box just to store it. And yeah. Alright, so the back plate is on. I plugged back in my power cable, and I plugged it into the loudspeaker of my Marshall cab. They say running I've heard that running a tube amp without it being plugged into speakers can damage the tubes, so make sure that it's plugged into a speaker. And yeah, so moment of truth. Flick it on. Alright, so as you can see, the Infinium lights are no longer lit, and this tube seems to be fitting in just fine. So we'll let them warm up. And see, my standby switch doesn't seem to be blinking either. Well, it's not on, but so yeah, right now I have it on the valves and diodes, medium power. So we'll let it warm up a little bit, and we'll get some sound going. The great thing about the Infinium technology, anything in the Bugera Infinium series, is that the amp does all the biasing itself. Had this been a different tube amp, we would have had to hook it up to like a power meter thing and make sure that all the tubes are running at their safe range optimal level, and there would have been like a dial on the amp that we might have had to take apart to turn, and it would have been much more difficult, much more dangerous. You would have wanted a technician to do that for you if you weren't completely sure what you were doing. So this is very, very simple. We just you know, take the thing out and pop in a new tube. It's very, very easy. There's no biasing step that you have to do. So it's very simple, and it's a very awesome design for telling you exactly which tube is lit, which tube is burnt out. Because other tube amps, you'd have to go around trying to first of all, other tube amps, you'd have to figure out that you are missing, that a tube is burned out. And you'd get that by listening to the amp, and if it sounds weird or something, then you have to go in and trial and error, try to find which one is burned out. And this is so much simpler, but it just lights up when the one is out, and that's exactly what it did. Only thing is that makes me question the quality of the Bugera tubes. You know, only about 3 months since I've had this thing, and I've been using it. I don't know how to describe my usage of it. It was not extremely hard, just a couple of times, whatever you could do in 3 months, and already burned out a tube. So there were some times where I started it up, and the tubes weren't quite warmed up enough yet, and that's a big no-no. So I've done that maybe like 3 times accidentally, because I am still kind of new to tube amps, and you're not supposed to move the amp while it's in use, while it's on, because that shock can mess up the tubes, things like that. So we'll see how this goes, and this new tube should do the trick. It should be better, should last longer. A lot of people say that you would probably replace tubes in your amp like once a year, depending on how you use it. If you use it crazy and all the time and hard, which I don't think I would count as that, especially since it's only been 3 months, you know, how you use it will affect the lifespan as well. Alright, let's click on the standby. Had the master turned all the way down. That's another thing. Well, that's what the manual said for this. Start the amp with the volume all the way down and then bring it up. So. See, there was some of these lights are kind of flickering. I've kind of been dealing with that for a little while. Sometimes when I start it up, it just does that. But then, you know, once it gets going, they stop flickering. So not sure if it's a flaw in the Infinium or if it's something else. So, but we got sound now, and it's working. Alright guys, well there you have it. Tube's been replaced. Seems to work. I'll let you guys know if anything else happens with this amp. This is the first time I've replaced tubes on this amp, and still figuring it out, so this has been my experience. Let me know what you guys think.